Come on, let's go with your frisbee. Come on, let's go find it. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on, let's go. So this is my dog, Rowdy, because he gets pretty rowdy sometimes. And he loves playing in the snow. You can't tell. He's kind of really good at frisbee, but I don't know if we'll be able to find his frisbee in the snow today. Move, buddy. Move. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come here, bud. Come on. Come here, bud. Oh, you hear a toy in there? I heard a squeak. This way. Or this way. There you go. There you go. Come on. Give it. Give it. You don't really like to let go of toys, do you? And go get it. He's kind of a good dog. And for being about 5 degrees out, it's actually pretty decent out here right now. But maybe some other time when I can find his frisbee, we'll do a little frisbee demonstration. Because Rowdy is a boss. Now it's time to install my clutch. And as you recall, this is the clutch I got from ZF Design. And I like it. I believe it holds the power that I'm going to be putting out. I did have some issues with chattering last time I had the clutch in the car. And the flywheel looks fine. The friction surface looks okay. So we'll put it back together and hopefully the chattering is not a big deal anymore. I could have lived with it before as well. I've not really done anything to mitigate it besides I put in a Group N transmission mount and I installed Group N engine mounts. And we will see if that makes any difference at all. Maybe once the clutch gets broken in, it will chatter less, and we'll see. So what I just did is I went ahead and got the thread locker off of the flywheel bolts. Those bolts are very important. You must put red Loctite on them, not blue. And if you don't have red Loctite, stop what you're doing and go get some, because your flywheel bolts will come out and you will not be happy at some point in time. So with that, let's slap the clutch on the back of the EG33. build today. I am actually currently waiting for my motor mounts because I threw the plates away that bolt the motor mounts to the engine, and those plates are different from the turbo model and the non-turbo model. So I'll be waiting for either some parts from Subaru or I'm asking a few people locally. So we will see which one comes first. But while I'm doing that, I've decided to start working with my electronic boost control solenoid. And I can show you that guy over here. It is kind of just chilling out, you know, firmly zip tied to the power steering reservoir. But thus far, I've just been running the standard wastegate actuators that come on these turbos, and that does not allow me to do anything but run wastegate pressure. So you can't open these up, you can't change them in any way. So it's like 11 psi is what you get. To actually make use of the electronic boost controller, you need a way to control the wastegate actuators when you're using an internal wastegate setup like I am, which I'm doing because it's cheaper and trying to save the monies. But you can use something like this, which is a dual port wastegate actuator. And what this allows you to do is use the electronic boost controller to control when the wastegate's open. So you can then set it to 5 psi. I think these are 5 to 15 psi. These are not for my turbos though. They don't just bolt on to my turbos. So what we have to do is make a mounting bracket for them, and that's what I've been working on so far this morning. Let me give you an example. So this is what the bracket looks like that comes connected to the turbo, and essentially it'll hold it up facing that way, and the actuator comes right out there, and then it flips open and closed the wastegate. And I actually had my old wastegate actuator rubbing right there, so I kind of don't want that to happen anymore. And I've got a few different bolt holes on the back that I've drilled here, just you know, fitting it last time. So now what I've been doing is making a bracket that will put this wastegate actuator where I want it. I've used my drill press to drill those holes, and they're fairly accurate. I think I made this one a little bit bigger because it was kind of a tight fit, but it's going to be good enough. And I'll show you what we got going on here. So the actuator has to be not obstructed when it's holding tension on this. And you can see the way that this sits, it just kind of like would hit the turbo right there. And if you look, I've been mounting it to the back of the turbo where those bolt holes are right there. So it's not really great to use the old bracket. The old bracket stuck this thing way out here, and this arm on the actuator is a little bit too short. It is adjustable, but you can't put the actuator way out here because it just won't reach. So with my bracket, I'm trying to not have to drill new holes in my turbo compressor housing because I've already done that once, and that would mean disassembling everything. That's kind of like last resort. So what I've done is I've decided that I want to use these bolt holes over here, and I've made like a long bracket that'll hold this thing somewhere around right there. So let me show you what it looks like. So a lot of people are thinking, you know, this is kind of a big hassle. Why would you do this? Because you can get external wastegates that you just weld into the exhaust piping, and then there you go. My answer to that question is that is about 5 times more expensive than what I'm doing here. Alright, so if you can see those holes down there, they will just get covered with this bracket. And we'll hook this guy up, something like that. And here we go. If you're like me and you like anybody that's supporting the EG33 platform, check out ASF Machine and the folks at Gripwell Garage. They partnered up to make this EG33 t-shirt, and it's got the full schematic on it. If you want one, head to gripwellgarage.com, and thanks again to the folks at ASF Machine for hooking me up. So yesterday I installed my dual port wastegate actuators, and that involved making brackets to hold them in place. And I like the way that they're sitting now. I'll show you what they look like. So here is this one. You can see it's hooked up right there. There's my bracket. It basically mounts on the old mounting holes. It's bent very specifically to hold it in this place, and it's really solid. Now I just need to run the silicone lines for each port on this side, and similar over on this side. We have hooked up right here. There's the bracket. This one maybe a little bit weaker, but I cannot move it by putting pressure on it. But I had to cut that part out to clearance there a little bit. If I take it back off, I'll weld it up for a little bit of stability. But I'm pleased with how that worked out. Now I will have the ability to use my electronic boost controller, and that is going to be a big help, benefit. If I get it tuned, the tuner can, adjust the boost level, and I can go out there and set 5 psi and really hammer on the car and not have to worry about over boosting and less risk of detonation, because we know how that works out. Crack piston. So now I need to mount my electronic boost control solenoid, which is right here. It's just the generic part. I know you can get these from DIY Auto Tune. Well, we actually found the generic part, so we got a little bit cheaper than that. And I will plumb that up. I do need to go pick up some T's, because you could run 2 of these and have one for each turbo, but I'm just running one, and I am going to T it so that way we get the same reference back from each turbo. Also yesterday I painted up my charge pipes, because the previous attempt they were kind of like flaking off, so I actually did the primer and paint this time. I was going to grind this down, but I couldn't be bothered, so I didn't. But now they look a little bit shinier, and since I'm going to be driving it out in the winter time, there is the potential that these will get exposed to salty moisture. So that'll be a benefit. Be a nice fun ride for the winter. Looking forward to making that boost with that dense, cold Minnesota air. Now we just got to get this thing back together. Pretty funny. If you heard my dog barking, that's because my motor mounts just showed up, and this is like the best Christmas present, because I've been waiting like 10 days since I ordered these things. But it's not their fault. I ordered them like on a Sunday, and it was like close to Christmas, and they have shipped them to me and I have them now. So my worry was I wasn't going to have any time to put the engine back in the car, but with those parts I should be able to do that right now. Engine's in the car, most everything's all tidied up. I have fluids in it, nothing's pouring out the bottom, which is good. I still need to finish the plumbing for the electronic boost controller, just double check everything, make sure it's good. Also, I'm just going to finish my fender liners, and then I could probably fire it up and see how it goes. I did put the exhaust on yesterday, so it's pretty much ready. Got my stretch belts on, very pleased with how those are working out. We'll see in practice, but got the oil cooler set up back to how it's supposed to be. Trying to segregate some cables. Oh, I do need to plug in all the electrical still. That won't take very long. So 3 or 4 plugs, then put some wheels on it and maybe take it for a drive today. After cranking for quite a long time, I did manage to get the engine fired up. This thing was spitting and sputtering. It sounded like maybe it was running on 4 or 5 cylinders, and it was super rich. And that's what I'll be debugging in the next episode. But until then, take it easy, easy on cars.